Lust. It's a word that instantly brings to mind passion, desire, and temptation, but the ancient Stoics saw it differently. To them, lust was not limited to physical cravings. It was something deeper and far more dangerous. Lust, in its essence, is uncontrolled desire. And desire, when left unchecked, becomes a threat to our peace of mind. It drives irrational behavior, weakens our judgment, and distracts us from virtue. In Stoicism, the path to freedom lies in mastering ourselves, not through repression, but through wisdom. Today, we'll explore 6 distinct forms of lust that the Stoics warned about, not just lust of the flesh, but of power, wealth, fame, pleasure, and even revenge. Each of them has the potential to enslave us, and only through reason, reflection, and discipline can we rise above them. Number 1. Lust for the body. This is the most recognizable form of lust. Sexual desire, physical attraction, the craving for another's body. While natural in moderation, the Stoics warned that unchecked lust for physical beauty leads to illusion. It reduces human beings to objects. Epictetus reminded us that what we're attracted to is simply flesh and bone, animated dust, and that this attraction is not inherently good or bad, but our obsession with it is the real danger. Marcus Aurelius urged himself not to be distracted by external appearances, writing in his Meditations that beauty fades quickly and that virtue is what truly matters. The Stoic view is not anti-love or anti-pleasure, but it challenges us to look deeper. Do we see the soul of the person, their character, their virtue, or are we just chasing chemistry? Lust for the body distorts perception. It leads us to false intimacy and temporary highs that quickly fade. And if left unexamined, it traps us in a cycle of craving, disappointment, and emptiness. The cure is not to suppress desire entirely, but to elevate it, to connect desire with reason, not impulse. Number 2, lust for power. Power intoxicates. The desire to lead, to dominate, to control outcomes, institutions, or even people. This is a lust that ruins empires and poisons the soul. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome, yet he constantly reminded himself that power is fleeting. Titles mean nothing. He wrote that even the names of the greatest conquerors are eventually forgotten. The Stoics taught that true power lies not in ruling others, but in mastering oneself. The lust for power often stems from fear of being powerless, invisible, or irrelevant. But what good is external power if you cannot govern your own desires, your own temper, your own mind? Seneca warned that ambition often leads people to betray their values, to lie, to manipulate, all in pursuit of control. The Stoic approach is to lead when necessary, serve with humility, and never confuse influence with inner worth. You can hold a high office and still be a slave to ego. Power without virtue is tyranny. Control over others is temporary. But control over yourself, that's eternal. Number 3, lust for wealth. Money is a tool, but when it becomes the goal, it corrupts. Seneca, one of the wealthiest Stoics, understood this better than anyone. He said that wealth is not evil, but the desire for more. That endless hunger is what enslaves us. The lust for wealth is deceptive. It often disguises itself as ambition, hard work, or financial freedom. But the Stoics saw through it. They taught that the real danger lies not in being poor, but in never being satisfied. You can have everything and still feel like you have nothing if you're always comparing, always chasing. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that all possessions decay and that real wealth is a virtuous life. The Stoics practiced voluntary poverty to train their minds against dependence. They would deliberately live simply for periods of time to remind themselves that happiness does not come from luxury. The question isn't whether you have money. The question is whether money has you. If your peace of mind depends on your income, your social status, your ability to buy things, then you are not free. The cure? Learn to value simplicity. Train yourself to live with less. Understand that your worth is not tied to your net worth, but to your character. Number 4, lust for fame, recognition, applause, being seen, being known. Today, this lust is more visible than ever. Millions chasing followers, likes, and digital validation. But even in ancient Rome, Marcus Aurelius warned against the empty pursuit of fame. He said, "Soon you will have forgotten the world, and soon the world will have forgotten you." The Stoics believed fame is a shadow. It can never be caught. And once you make your happiness depend on it, you're forever chained to public opinion. What happens when people stop clapping? When they criticize you instead of praise you? The person who lives for fame lives for others, not for themselves. The lust for fame makes us perform instead of live. We stop acting from virtue and start acting for approval. The Stoics taught us to act rightly, not to be noticed. Seneca wrote that the approval of the crowd is meaningless if your conscience disapproves. The cure for this lust is to focus on the internal scoreboard, not the external one. Ask yourself, not, did they like me? But was I just? Was I kind? Was I honest? That's what lasts. Number 5, lust for pleasure. This type of lust is sneaky. It appears innocent, just enjoy yourself, indulge, live a little, but the Stoics knew how easily pleasure becomes addiction. It starts with one reward, one bite, one drink, one scroll, and then it grows. When we lust for pleasure, we begin to avoid anything uncomfortable. Pain becomes the enemy, discomfort becomes unbearable, and the more we indulge, the weaker we become. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. Anything that enslaves you, even pleasure, is a trap." Lust for pleasure isn't just about sensual things. It's about chasing comfort and avoiding growth. Stoics practiced hardship deliberately. They fasted, trained, slept on the floor, lived simply. Not because they hated comfort, but because they didn't want to need it. Pleasure in moderation is fine, but when you seek it compulsively, it becomes your master. The question to ask is this: can you go without it? Can you enjoy something without depending on it? If the answer is no, then pleasure is no longer a gift, it's a chain. Number 6, lust for revenge. The final and perhaps most overlooked type of lust is the lust for revenge. When we are wronged, betrayed, insulted, revenge feels like justice. It feels righteous. But to the Stoics, revenge is just another kind of slavery. Seneca wrote, "He who seeks revenge should dig 2 graves, one for his enemy and one for himself." Anger, when it transforms into the desire to hurt back, only continues the cycle of pain. The Stoics taught that real strength lies in forgiveness, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that people act out of ignorance, not evil, and that vengeance only prolongs suffering. Lust for revenge keeps you chained to the past. It consumes your thoughts, your emotions, your time. It doesn't heal, it poisons. Justice is necessary. But revenge, that's ego disguised as virtue. The Stoic cure is perspective. Step back. Ask yourself if clinging to anger is worth your peace. Let go, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because no enemy can harm you more than you harm yourself by holding on to hate. In the end, all 6 types of lust share one thing in common. They pull us away from reason. They enslave the mind and disturb the soul. But the Stoics didn't just point out the problem. They offered tools: self-reflection, discipline, voluntary discomfort, the remembrance of death, and the constant pursuit of virtue. They believed that a good life isn't one without desire. It's one where desire is tamed by wisdom. So ask yourself, which of these lusts hold power over you? And more importantly, are you ready to take that power back? If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. It helps the channel grow and reach more people who need to hear this. Stay strong, stay wise, and I'll see you in the next video.